Weibao Wang was a software engineer at Apple from 2016 to 2018, working on the company's secretive project to develop autonomous systems, including self-driving cars. He had access to highly confidential and proprietary data that only a few thousand of Apple's employees could see. But he betrayed that trust by stealing huge amounts of sensitive information for a Chinese competitor. According to the Department of Justice, Wang accepted a job offer from a US-based subsidiary of an unnamed Chinese company that was also working on autonomous driving technology in April 2017, 4 months before he resigned from Apple. During that time, he downloaded and copied large amounts of source code, tracking systems, behavior planning algorithms, and hardware descriptions from Apple's databases to his personal devices. He also took photos and videos of Apple's workspaces and equipment. Wang tried to cover his tracks by deleting his browser history and disabling the security settings on his devices. He also lied to Apple about his new employer and his travel plans. He told Apple that he was going to visit his sick mother in China, but he actually planned to work for the Chinese company there. His scheme was exposed when Apple discovered his unauthorized access and reported him to the FBI. Federal agents searched his home in June 2018 and found large quantities of stolen data from Apple. They also found evidence that he had applied for jobs at other Chinese companies that were developing self-driving cars. Wang fled to China on the same day that his home was searched, despite promising to cooperate with the investigation. He was charged with 6 counts of theft or attempted theft of trade secrets by the DOJ in April 2021. If extradited and convicted, he could face up to 10 years in prison for each count. Wang is not the only former Apple employee who has been accused of stealing trade secrets for China. Xiaolang Zhang pleaded guilty in 2020 to a similar theft involving Apple's car division. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison and fined $200,000. These cases show how Apple's cutting-edge technology is coveted by foreign competitors and adversaries, and how some employees are willing to risk their careers and freedom for personal gain. They also highlight the challenges that Apple faces in protecting its intellectual property and innovation from theft and espionage. Weibao Wang is a former Apple engineer who was charged by the US Department of Justice with stealing and attempting to steal 6 counts of trade secrets related to Apple's self-driving car technology. He faces up to 10 years in prison and a fine for each count if convicted. According to the indictment, Wang worked on a secret project at Apple called Project Titan, which aimed to develop autonomous systems for vehicles. He was hired by Apple in 2016 and had access to confidential information and documents about the project. In 2017, Wang secretly accepted a job offer from a US-based subsidiary of a Chinese company that was also working on self-driving cars. He did not inform Apple of his new employment until 4 months later, when he resigned from Apple. Before his departure, Wang downloaded thousands of files from Apple's internal network, including the entire source code of Project Titan, engineering schematics, technical manuals, and testing reports. He also took physical documents and hardware devices from Apple's campus. When federal agents searched his home in June 2018, they found large quantities of data that had been taken from Apple on his personal devices and hard drives. They also discovered that Wang had booked a flight to China that night, despite telling the agents that he had no plans to travel. Wang boarded the plane and flew to Guangzhou, China, where he is believed to be currently residing. The US government has not been able to extradite him or bring him to trial. Wang's case is one of several examples of how the US authorities are cracking down on the theft of trade secrets and technology by foreign actors, especially China. The US has accused China of engaging in economic espionage and intellectual property theft to gain an edge in emerging industries such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and clean energy.